Hello, Marky Dragon, also known as Marcus Eikenberry in real life, and welcome to another episode of Neos Land, the Kickstarter. I guess they're like roundtables, mini roundtables, information sessions, something like that. And welcome back, everyone. Glad to have you here, especially Evil. I like it when Evil's around. I don't know if
Evil
it makes
likes
me
it
feel
when he's around too.
more secure or not about everything, but it's exciting.
Well,
So,
if you know there's good and you know there's evil, you know where everything stands.
yeah, right in between. So, okay, I think we got a lot of questions from people watching the live stream. And so, what's next on our list? Oh, wait, we got something else first, though. Dude, Jock, we got to talk about a fountain.
Yeah, that's right.
So, fountain is one of the items that's given out as a daily reward. One item is removed every day. That's how this works. And right now we have a full list of items. So if you're in today, you get more stuff. Now, a fountain sounds really boring to me. Why would I want a fountain?
Well, we're looking at different things that we can do with it, right? Like once it's going to be very nice, right? Everybody will see your fountain; it looks very nice by your house, right? But that's a little bit boring. I think one thing we were looking at adding into this fountain is going to be that if you maybe drink from it, right? You can get different maybe abilities from it just by using it, right? Like
Special
maybe
water.
yeah, some special type of water, right?
It's a little bird poo enhanced.
Yeah,
Oh my.
it will be.
Just add horse dung.
It will be linked to whatever you add into it, right? So it might give you a extra, a little bit of health over a short period of time, or maybe even make you a little bit invisible, for a short period of time, right? But it's definitely going to be a very interesting one to have.
Invisible. So, like, you can only drink from your own, and it's there on your property, and so you can be invisible for just a little ways, and then
Yeah,
that could
something like
that could
that.
be
Yeah.
really interesting. Really interesting. So,
Fountain of the Peeping Tom.
I like that fountain a little bit more. Okay. So, okay, what kind of questions have we got?
Okay. So I'm getting a lot of questions on currency in the game, as I was mentioning before during the break. The first question I have here is you guys mentioned that this game will have a player-driven economy. I was wondering what steps you guys would take if someone were to discover some sort of bug like duplication that would cause the economy to plummet. Would you guys do a rollback or let the economy recover on its own for this type of situation?
Well, that'll definitely be a per situation, right? It's hard to give you an answer on that right away, right? But we definitely will do the best possible way of ensuring that the economy doesn't totally plummet or everything gets lost and so on. I mean, one thing we definitely will be looking at is obviously coming back to the community and asking them what ways there would be from them, to prevent something like that and ensure that the economy keeps going up.
Okay, and there's a follow-up question to that as well. The follow-up question was, what kind of steps will you take to help players who create their own content within the world gain in-game currency? If not real currency, if you support a buyback program, some sort of auction.
Well, what it is, how the character player-created content is going to work is you create a certain item, it won't have abilities right on the bat on it and stuff like that, but it depends. And say, for instance, like walls, right? You create a certain section of a wall for a house, for instance. You get a blueprint for this. You get the original blueprint. You can make copies from that. You can sell the copies. Your original never expires, but where the copies can expire, right? And stuff like that. So you can sell those copies for in-game currency, or you can actually sell the original blueprint as well, right? So that'll generate you a lot of in-game currency and basically, get you paid for whatever the work you were doing, right?
We're basically earning a living in the game as well. You know. Yeah. Anyway, you can become wealthy in the game. All these, everything. I think that just almost everything that we do can earn in game.
Yeah.
If somebody wants it, somebody
Right.
will buy it. The question is, will it be priced by the players properly? Because one of the things I found with like Diablo 3 was their auction house was obscenely overpriced. And a lot of players couldn't buy the high-end items.
Well, that's because everybody was botting. and had all this money to spend.
Well, I must have been left out of the loop on that one.
The experiment of Diablo and their auction house, it's good that somebody took that challenge on and did that, but that was a horrible failure.
Yeah.
And if the economy goes way out of control, that's what happens. It's hyperinflation, and that's why the stuff went such high prices. But then the new person getting into the game didn't have a chance of coming anywhere near it, and it was just this hyperinflation. Things were just way out of control. That is something that I personally will be keeping an eye on. And any problems that I notice, we'll be working on that right away, because it can destroy the game.
Yeah.
And so the economy is very important. And like EVE Online has an economist on staff. Unless the Kickstarter goes really wild, we probably wouldn't have an economist on staff, but we can certainly learn from what other games have done and make sure that we're not making the same mistakes.
Having one consult is relatively cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're definitely taking the economy very seriously, right? So there's definitely going to be a lot of things that have been looked at, right? And I mean, with the help from the community, we're going to get a lot of feedback on how to do that, right? And the way that we're doing it, we're literally working with you guys, right? It's not like we're just listening and then deciding if we want to do it or not. It's all things that makes it relevant to us as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, and with the fact that I actually think that there's going to be quite an evil eye on this, no pun intended, about how the economy is working and everything, especially because there's the system of trading in-game currency for real subscription time, which has a real cost, and vice versa. And so that's going to have to be watched very closely and make sure it doesn't get out of whack and everything, because if the incentive to NeoJack, the game publisher or game developer here, is that if that gets all out of whack, then nobody can afford their the different things, and it quits being fun, and the company would potentially lose money in real life from that. So
in EVE Online, the economy for that, it completely generated itself. I mean, when they released Plexes, the Plex prices started at like 200, and now they average about 450 to 500 without even no adjustments whatsoever to the market. And at first, it's going to be, I mean, since we're starting with a Plex-like device in the game, you're going to see the price set itself.
But yeah, the price will set itself. But what I'm saying is, if there was a dupe in the game and people were able to generate currency, then one of the first things that we would see is a hyperinflation of the real product, the real world cost product of the subscription. Yeah. We would notice it start going through the roof, and that's our first indication that something is very, very wrong.
Well, being able to dupe an item like that should not be made possible.
Well, of course.
You'll find that bug real quick.
Yeah. Well, it's just this game. Even though I'm not part of the development team or whatnot, I'm just leading this design train down the tracks here. But it's all very important to me, and so I think that we'll keep our ears to the ground and make sure we know what's going on.
I think it's important for any community player that's in there, right? Like, it's not us just, but it's everybody that's participating in the roundtables, taking their time out of their daily life to do this, right? So, every community member out there is probably important for them as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Also, conflict is what drives and helps the economy grow or crash, depending on what it is and what. Like in EVE, you take a ship, you blow up a ship, that has a negative impact on the person, which fuels their fire to continue to play and continue to do different things. I think with this game, Boy Machiavelli had a great suggestion, or just a question in general, asking, is there going to be any reward or loss of any income if, let's say, I band together with a group of people and take over, let's say, a kingdom that somebody built? things like that also will help drive the economy, because if there's an incentive for me to go take over some land for more money, it's gonna just all around create a better atmosphere and environment for the players.
Well, I would say not so much taking over the land it's such, because that's a different story, right? But more like looting and stuff like that. You can get some rewards out of it, definitely. Like it's all going to be a balancing effect, and how we proceed with that, right?
Will there be gold sinks?
Yeah.
So we'll have items that get destroyed during war. You mentioned in the last episode about being able to build build walls around a town or whatnot, and that they would become degraded if the town next door was attacking the walls, maybe knocking them down. There's a cost to rebuilding them, so yeah, as long as there's good gold sinks, that helps a lot. So. Yeah, but it is a fact, actually, of every single MMO I've played, there's inflation in every single one of them. So, yeah.
Well, you also got to look at the fact that a lot of times what happens in MMOs is the developers set a price on something, and when they open it up, the price spikes because the actual value to the players is higher than what they set it at. I mean, I watched this happen in EVE on like 150 different items. If they said they were going to be making an item player-driven, I would go out and buy the NPC product as much as I could, because I guarantee you the price will go up. It might take a while, but it does.
Market speculation. I can totally see us doing that here in our game, too.
But the difference between this and EVE is we're starting from almost nothing.
Well, EVE started at nothing, didn't they? 10 years ago.
Well, yeah. All right, I would agree with that.
And they've been on a quest the whole time to make everything player created and controlled, and we're starting with that philosophy right at the beginning here.
Yeah.
So, we're going to be able to learn from some of their things that they've done and everything. Next.
Okay, this is along the lines of character customization. They wanted to know, Jackson J2G wanted to know, what kind of races will players be able to play, and also what kind of customization for character creation can we expect?
Well, that's a good question. Like, we haven't put out stretch goals yet for the Kickstarter, but we'll be doing it very soon, showing you. And one of the stretches is adding additional races. So when you start off, you're going to be starting off with the human race right off the bat. And then as we reach certain stretch goals, we'll be adding additional races and stuff like that. So when we get to that stage, we'll definitely get the community to say what races they're looking for, right? So we can develop their specific races. The other thing is also for character customization. We already have a video or two out there that's showing character customization as such, that you create your character. You can literally do anything. I think we have about 40 or 30 to 40 different things you can change on your character, like your nose size, your ears, literally anything you want, you can change on it, right? So you can have your character definitely look very uniquely from any other character that's in the world.
And of course, all the teenage boys that are playing want to know whether or not you can adjust the breast size of the female characters that you're playing.
Well, then we all want to know that. No. So there's a different things available for anybody, right? So you can do anything in it, right? Basically, all we did is the system we have in place allows you to go to very extremes. We can have a head triple the size of your body type of thing, with morphing and so on. But we had to put in some limitations to certain sizes and stuff like that.
Yeah, it had to stay within some sort of norms.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this is based off that question. The follow-up is based off the character customization. What about player-created clothing? And is this an idea of adding this to the shop, of just like how you were selling plots of land and buildings, etc.?
Yeah, we definitely will be looking in that, right? The only difference is when we add in stuff items that's going to be linked to abilities and skills like that, depending on how we do our crafting system, that'll come into play. Help what we're going to be allowing for player-created items, right?
So, would I be able to work on my tailoring skill and then do things like have a shop that has a whole bunch of different robes? Robes are us, or cloaks are us, and I can make them all some different types or whatnot, dye them different colors and stuff, and your idea is that we would be able to have a lot of customization over that, right?
Yeah, but no, I think what he's meaning is in the sense of actually outside the game assets, right?
Oh, okay.
So if he creates that's what I'm gathering. If he creates say a cloak now, like outside the game, right? You bring it into the game, right? Now that cloak has to have some stats and stuff according to it, right? So, that's going to be the only problem we have with that is how do we assign what stats and stuff like onto it, right? Because if you bring it in, you're going to want to have the best stats on because you're going to be able to sell that, the blueprint and stuff to a lot of people. So that's the only problem we're going to have. So we have to see how we're going to go over that, But other stuff like, for instance, walls and stuff like that, or unless we categorize these things into certain categories, and if you bring it in, we'll specify which category it falls in and automatically gets assigned those stats, right? But certain things it doesn't matter, right?
Guild Wars 2 had a great system for that that they implemented within their cash shop. Basically, you would buy a cosmetic piece that could then be applied to any piece of gear you had based on the tier of the if it was wool, leather.
You could transfer the stats or whatever to something that looked good.
Yes, and they just had an item that you would buy. It was like a transferring stone. I forget what it's called exactly, but you just applied that stone to your cosmetic item, and then you would attach it to any gear of the same tier.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea. Yeah, something like that could definitely be possible, right?
Yeah, or you directly come up with a formula that if this is the awesome cloak of whatever invisibility, that it has very heavy resource cost to actually make it.
Yeah. One thing also with items, right? Like from the roundtables we've heard and so on. We are trying to work on a system that you put an item together, right? Like you build say for instance a sword, right? And you put it together with the front and the back end of it, right? You can have different types of things that you link into, so your sword can look differently in the game as well, right? From one crafter to another, and also allowing a certain slots, like you'll have maybe the base stats, but you can add in different stats, or even like Evil Overlord said, like curses. You can put a curse on an item, for instance, and then if somebody uses it, they have to identify it, to know what it is. But other than that, they can get cursed, like might slash somebody's head off when you try and kill a monster, one of your friends, or something like that.
Self-decapitation, gotta love it.
Let me think about how that sword works. I still got Frostmourne here. I'm shipping it out here in a few days. The guy who won it finally contacted me, so getting shipped out in a few days. I could try it with Frostmourne.
No, we like you alive. And I'm sure your wife would be most unhappy if you suddenly decapitated yourself.
I'm sure that I would end up cutting the curtains or the carpet or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the big thing is for us to make sure that we can customize as many things as possible, right? And have the systems, like the tools in place. We want to put the tools in place there, and then players can do their thing that they want to do, right? That's the thing we're concentrating on, right? And having different, we don't want the same sword and the same thing. Every crafter makes exactly the same thing, basically. We want to try and find a way that we can make it as customizable to each crafter and any skill level, right? So that if you go buy a sword in this place, it has certain things, but if you go to another town, you might find a similar type of sword, but it won't be exactly the same.
Okay. Cool. Evil, you got any questions there?
Yes, from Crits Grits. Saying, if my wife and I want to play, will we be able to own a house together and have a fully shared experience? That's an interesting one. I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, that is an interesting question.
Well, that would kind of be like a guild house then, almost, just on a different scale.
Or a family one, right? You're obviously going to be able to open up the house to certain people, and also that will allow you at some point, to rent out rooms, for instance, right, and open up a hotel and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely there will be possibilities of it.
The Marquee Manor. Yeah. I was talking with Lisa today about she's like, I really want some land in the game. How are we going to do that? And I'm like, well, I think we'll have to share. So we were already looking at that we had already planned on whether there's systems in place or not that we get to somehow use the stuff together, and both have ownership. It would be nice to be able to say, okay, my account owns this land here, but I'm giving permission to this other account to do everything with it too, but say sell it or something like that.
Yeah, definitely we'll put in some permission systems in place, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe the solution is have the same behind-the-scenes mechanic that's just simply scalable from anything from like one person to two people all the way up to a full guild or something like that. I mean,
I think that we should have permissions like that. I could totally see a guild home where you need people to be able to, well, actually even access to particular rooms.
yeah.
If they're all living in Marquee Manor, I need to be able to sign. One person can get through that door.
Yeah.
Thing.
Everything is possible, right, with the grid system, right? Because you can allocate anything you want to a specific grid, right? And it's not too big or not too small, right? So you can allocate a certain permission to a door or whatever, right? No problem.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it shall be fun.
Okay, next question we got here is from Magro. They would like to know, will there be pets and breeding pets, vanity or combat, and if such, like mounts and whatnot?
Oh, we lost Jacques. He'll probably reconnect here in just a second. And in fact, there he is. So, Jacques, did you hear that question?
So, some of it, I just heard breeding pets, and that was it.
It's
basically,
called animal husbandry.
No comment.
That's what it's really called. That's the real term. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. It's from Magro, and they would like to know if there would be any pets, breeding pets, vanity, or combat.
Well, firstly, once again, right, we haven't gone through that yet in the roundtable. So, do you want that to be?
Show up at the round table. Let us know.
Yeah. I think that would be a really good topic.
Yeah, it's a good topic. Yeah.
I saw a system put in place in a little known game called Link Realms, and they put in cockfighting, and I'm talking about the birds, Evil, and
How do I sign up?
yeah, I'm not talking about swordplay, and so anyway,
I wasn't talking about anything other than the birds too. I don't know, but it's just funny that somebody came up with the being able to do animal fighting rings.
He couldn't even say it. Look at it, he's blushing under his robe. Anyway, so what they did is they had that you could fight your birds together, and I'll spare everybody the embarrassment. You could fight your birds together, and if your bird kept continually winning, then you would use that bird as a stud with the other chickens, and you would then have a chance that some of the offspring was actually got the traits of of the champion. So it was like a bloodline type thing, and not only could their skills be increased through breeding, but they also you could breed together different patterns of feathers and everything. And you could come up with some really interesting things. So they started out with just birds that were brown, birds that were white, or whatnot, and birds that had a couple other little colors. And then through the breeding, they ended up with some really interesting designs. And it was kind of all system generated, through a genetics type system. So pretty neat stuff.
Yeah, we haven't touched anything, especially like having special skill or abilities to your pets as well, right? We haven't even touched those subjects yet in our roundtables. So those are definitely things we encourage other people to come and join us in our roundtables to give their ideas and what they think would be good.
And the next official roundtable, the roundtables are officially on Thursdays. And look at the schedule underneath my Twitch channel to see the time. I think the next one we actually we got a time change on the next one or the one after. I can't remember, but we do them weekly there. We focus on one subject, and everyone is welcome to join in and be heard. We brainstorm, come up with the ideas, and then we ask Jacques to have his team make it. And every once in a while he says, "Wow, I don't know," but you've really surprised me with as much stuff as you actually really have been able to do. So, okay, I think we're out of time for this episode. So those of you watching live, there'll be another episode at the bottom of the hour, and those of you watching on YouTube, wait another 2 hours. Another episode will appear. Please do subscribe, although not all of them are going to alert your subscription, so that I don't spam the hell out of you on YouTube. And okay, guys, we'll see you back in a few minutes. And those of you watching live, get your questions in. We'll get them answered.